capabilities of new technologies have advanced rapidly in recent years, transforming our everyday lives for better and worse. Advancing Data Justice, a film series by the Alan Turing Institute, explores the human consequences of this transformation by looking to stories at the intersection of social justice and datafication. It does so thanks to the contribution of 12 global partners who have been working around the world to fight for just, fair, and equitable uses of data. In this series, they share their insights into the past, present, and future of data justice. In episode 1, we explored the different ways in which data justice has been understood around the world.
Data justice is a movement which advocates for applying the principles of social justice to all instances of data collection and use.
Data justice for me is about using data in a way that's fair.
Data justice means in China it's more, but probably much more put right as data for good or data for common good.
In this episode, we dive into the human consequences of data injustice. To do this, we will explore just a few of the many examples of injustice which our global partners have researched, exposed, and resisted.
What is considered as an injustice in one community may not be seen as such in another community.
Data injustice is any sort of inequities or power imbalances that exist in our society that are either reflected in the data that we collect and how we use it, or result in similar injustices.
I would say that data justice is more positive way of defining things, but data injustice is more the way things are happening these days in life.
Despite concerns that data injustice has become the norm, awareness of its human impact is not widespread.
The main concern, I believe, is that the issues of data and data justice are not really in the public sphere. They're not part of the public discourse. So the public is not as knowledgeable on these issues as they should be. They're not really at the forefront of their minds.
To resolve this challenge and increase awareness of data injustices, it's necessary to move beyond abstract definitions and show human examples of how data injustice is present in our everyday. Challenges to data justice come in many forms. There is no simple way to categorize these diverse harms, nor is it possible to cover the full range of challenges to data justice in this episode. Nonetheless, the stories told here do illustrate key patterns in how data injustice can manifest. First, we share examples where datafication has resulted in the loss of resources, whether this is financial, material, or otherwise. Second, we share examples where datafication has caused harm on the basis of identity. As each story will illustrate, harms of allocation and harms of representation are deeply entangled with one another. One way in which the harms caused by datafication have been understood by our partners is through examples where fair access to resources has been undermined by data-driven technologies. Fair access to resources has long been central to social justice. Unfortunately, this principle has at times been deeply threatened by digital technologies. One arena in which such harms have occurred is the gig economy. In 2022, Digital Empowerment Foundation sat down with several drivers in Hyderabad, India, to discuss their experiences working with app-based taxi companies. Here, these drivers share their perspectives on how new technologies have transformed their lives and livelihoods.
मैं टैक्सी ड्राइवर हूँ और ये टैक्सी लाइन में जो हूँ मैं 2013 से हूँ। जब वो बेगमपेट में एयरपोर्ट था, जब शमशाबाद एयरपोर्ट अभी ओपन नहीं हुआ था।
सिर्फ मैं 2 महीने चलाया, मेरे को समझ में नहीं आया। जब से 6 साल से यूबर ही चला रहा हूँ।
मैं 8 साल से टैक्सी ड्राइवर हूँ हैदराबाद में। जो ये ऐप बेस्ड कंपनी हैदराबाद में नहीं आया, तब से हम लोग गाड़ी चला रहे हैं।
मैं तेलंगाना गीग एंड प्लेटफॉर्म वर्कर्स यूनियन का फाउंडर एंड स्टेट प्रेसिडेंट हूँ। मैं खुद ग्राउंड पे गाड़ी चलाता हूँ ओला उबर में।
हम लोग टूरिस्ट और कोई बाहर से आए, उन लोगों को होटल से और पिकनिक स्पॉट से पिकअप करके हम लोग सर्विस करते थे उन लोगों को। जब ये एंड्रॉयड फ़ोन्स और ऐप बेस्ड कंपनीज आया, तब हम लोग को ये अट्रैक्ट कर दिया कि इंसेंटिव रूप में।
तो ऐसा सिस्टम था, तो आने ना अच्छा टेक्नोलॉजी बढ़ा, बढ़ने से बिजनेस हुआ नहीं बोल के नहीं। और उसके बाद में थोड़े प्रॉब्लम्स भी फेस करे।
हमारे को नोवा अटल एग्जीबिशन में ग्राउंड में ऑफिस है उसका, हम जाके पूरे डॉक्यूमेंट दिए, दोनों आगे कॉफ़ी पियो, कोल्ड ड्रिंक पियो, बैठो, एसी में बैठा था, तुम्हारा डॉक्यूमेंट दो, ऐसा सर्विस देता था, हमारे को देता था। अभी हमारे को भिखारी के सरकार देख रहे, भिखारी के सभी बहुत कम देख रहे हैं हमारे। कभी हमारे कुछ तकलीफ है बोले तो ऑफिस को गए तो अभी वो लगा बाउंसर लोग लगा लेके हटाते।
मगर फिर भी जबकि जो रेट था ऐप बेस्ड कंपनी आए, अभी भी वही रेट चल रहा, हम लोग को कुछ इम्प्रूवमेंट नहीं है उसमें। वो इंसेंटिव भी ना, जब पहले जो हम लोग को ज़्यादा हाई एक्सपेक्टेशन से इंसेंटिव देता था, अब वो आते था लोग, वो भी कम हो गया। अभी इंसेंटिव भी बहुत कम से आ रहा है हम लोग को।
स्टार्टिंग में जब ओला उबर जब हैदराबाद में आए थे, तो जब जो हम लोग 10% कमीशन दे रहे थे, वो लोग ले रहे थे 10% कमीशन, अभी जो ले रहे 25% ले रहे।
But concerns around fair and adequate pay are not the only problems these drivers face.
तो टेक्निकल इश्यूज बहुत सारे अभी भी लूप पॉइंट्स है। हम टेक्नोलॉजी से लड़ रहे और टेक्नोलॉजी को लेके हम काम कर रहे। यही कंपनी ने हमें ऐप कैसा इस्तेमाल करना सिखाया, यही कंपनी ने हमें मोबाइल एंड्रॉयड फ़ोन इस्तेमाल करना सिखाया, और यही कंपनी इसी के ही हिसाब से खेलना वो सीख रहे, खिलौना बन के हम रह गए।
For example, issues surrounding transparency and driver safety arise due to what are seen by drivers as unfair data sharing practices.
में जो आप जो बोले डिटेल्स, जो ओनर्स के जो ड्राइवर का डिटेल्स राइडर का ना रहता और कंपनी वाले का ना रहता, मगर जो कस्टमर का जो डिटेल्स है ड्राइवर के पास ना रहता।
हाल में भी आप दिल्ली के इशू में भी देख सकते, हैदराबाद के इशूज़ में भी देख सकते। बहुत सारे ड्राइवर्स को जो है कैब बुक करके सिटी के आउटस्कर्ट्स में लेके जाके उनकी जान निकाल दी जा रही है और उनकी गाड़ी खींच ली जा रही है उनसे। एक ज़िम्मेदारान कंपनी को ज़रूर ट्रांसपेरेंसी रखना होगा, जैसे कि ड्राइवर की ट्रांसपेरेंसी है तो कस्टमर की भी ट्रांसपेरेंसी होना चाहिए।
Transparency has also become a wider issue due to the opaque ways in which the apps have been designed. This has led drivers to question the motivations and methods of digital ride-sharing platforms.
देखिए सर्च बताता, लेकिन वो एरिया से मेरे को बुकिंग आता ही नहीं। क्यों ऐसा?
इसमें ऐप में जनरेट होकर रहता है, जैसे डिमांड एरिया है वो एरिया में आपको सर्च मिलेगा, जो डिमांड एरिया नहीं है वो एरिया में सर्च नहीं मिलेगा। वो ड्राइवर भी ना ये सर्च ऐप में ऐसा बताते कि आशा बढ़ जाता कि इधर सर्च जाए, हम लोग अच्छा रेट मिलता।
और जानबूझ के होना बोल के बुकिंग भी 35 टारगेट करने को नहीं देता हूँ। एक बुकिंग के पास रोक देता हूँ, एक बुकिंग भी करने तो बुकिंग देता ही नहीं, रोक देता हूँ। यानी कि एयरपोर्ट को जाता वहाँ रोक देता, एयरपोर्ट का बुकिंग देते बजा के सीधा वहाँ बैठना। हमारे सामने कितने की गाड़ी आती, कितने की गाड़ी जाते हैं, लेकिन हम वही बैठते, इसलिए कि ये बुकिंग मारे तो फिर 39 रुपीज़ देना पड़ता उसको। देखिए अभी बता रहा हूँ ना, ऐसा लोगों को छुट्टियाँ बनाता। हमारे मालूम नहीं कि अभी हम छुट्टियाँ है बोल के भी हम कर रहे हैं, इसलिए कि बाहर गए तो कुछ है ही नहीं, क्या कर रहे हैं।
The challenges discussed by drivers go beyond this. Their concerns range from the lack of effective complaints procedures to the monopolization of the market by multinational corporations. In the end, the drivers don't feel confident in their abilities to address any of these challenges because of systemic opaqueness and lack of meaningful information.
ये सब चीज़ का जो है सारांश एक ही है कि वो टेक्नोलॉजी को तो हम यूज़ करना समझ रहे, बट उसको समझ के यूज़ करना है। समझ के यूज़ करने में फ़र्क है। तो हम भी ये सारे चीज़ को जो है अभी भी ड्राइवर्स जितने भी है, चाहे डिलीवरी बॉयज़ हैं, गीग वर्कर, प्लेटफॉर्म वर्कर्स पे जितने भी लोग काम कर रहे हैं, तो हम सब ये चीज़ को अभी भी बहुत सारा सीखना है। इसमें बहुत सारा लूप पॉइंट्स है, कंपनी आपस में बातचीत करना स्टार्ट करना चाहिए।
Not all of the harms caused by datafication result in a tangible loss of resources. Many of the harms uncovered by our partners instead center around the impact our ongoing digital transformation is having on individuals and communities' identity, dignity, or privacy. Specifically, the next two stories shared here center on online harms which disproportionately impact women and the LGBT+ community. From online harassment to privacy violations, the rapid encroachment of online realities into everyday lives has not impacted all groups equally. Women of Uganda Network is dedicated to exposing the widespread discrimination, harassment, and abuse experienced by women in online spaces. As part of this work, they spoke to Sylvia Ruabwogo, a former member of parliament in Uganda, about her experience of online abuse. This story shares just a fraction of Sylvia's personal story and the impact it had on her life. It's used here to demonstrate the expansive impact online abuse can have on women's lives and livelihoods.
My name is Sylvia Rabogo. I am a mother of 4. I'm also coming from the background of a teenage mother. I was a teenage mother. My girls are big, my children are big. I come from Kabarole district. I am a former member of parliament for Kabarole district when it was still one. Yes, for me as a woman, first of all, I want to actually even talk about my personal experience. Just as I said, I have tried so much to protect my family, to protect my children from that public eye, because it goes with you. People want to go beyond just seeing you, to seeing your husband, to seeing who your children are, how your children behave and everything, how your home is running. So meaning there is no privacy for such a person. So you lose a part of you. My experience dates back in 2017. That is where my harassment started. So I came, at that time, it was such a threatening experience. That is when the harassment started. I came face to face with harassment. At first, I did not notice it was going to be like that because I used to get calls from a person I do not know. Then the person now starts sending messages, a stream of messages. I think that whole period was about 8 months until the time I went to court. During that time, I must have got over 1,000 messages on my phone coming from this young man.
Following this breach of Sylvia's privacy, the harassment escalated, spreading into her digital presence on social media. The gender-based harms that followed illustrate the gendered ways in which online abuse can occur. They also reveal the widespread barriers to remedy faced by those who are trying to address such abuse.
And then I had to go to court. So when I went to court, actually, the worst of it all, the harassment even went beyond. Because when I went to court, the way the media reported about my story in court, the very first story that broke out in the media, the mainstream media, actually even caused a bigger problem. Because that is when the outburst came out on social media, Facebook pages, on WhatsApp, on Twitter. Everyone on radios was discussing my issue. How can a woman refuse a man that is vibing them? Besides, she's a single woman. So see how the public, how society looks at a woman. I am a leader. Nobody looks at me in my capacity as a leader and says, no, I think that one went beyond. The outburst pushed me off all these spaces. I went off Facebook because whatever comment I would put would be misinterpreted. And then a hell of other messages would come. So because of that kind of harassment that I also experienced online, I withdrew from Facebook, I withdrew from WhatsApp, I withdrew from all those other spaces in order for me to have peace and settle again.
These experiences faced by Sylvia illustrate how inappropriate levels of content moderation and oversight can enable the multiplication of online harassment and the amplification of online abuse. This suggests the need for fundamental changes to the governance of the digital environment. environment.
We need to support women to come up and stand for themselves. But also, the way we handle the laws and implement the laws still leaves a lot to be desired. We need to establish safe spaces for women, where women can be able to chat online and even talk to people offline, be able to be themselves online and offline without being attacked. These attacks actually online a lot, that women sometimes even have to withdraw from posting anything.
Internet Bolivia have become crucial to running a digital SOS center in Bolivia. Key to this is a hotline which helps to support local communities and track examples of injustice across Bolivia. Through this, they have uncovered the disproportionate impact emerging technologies are having on LGBT+ populations online.
In the Digital SOS Center, we did get this case. This is already public information, this isn't confidential, of personal data abuse. This case in particular was when COVID, when we were in the confinement, and cybercrime has increased, and it really disproportionately affected the LGBT community that was online at that point. Information was leaked. Gender identification, sexual orientation, via HIV status was also leaked, which was stolen from Grindr, which is an online dating app for the LGBTQI community.
One person involved in uncovering this case was Alex Bernabe, an activist based at the Fundación Igualdad LGBT in Bolivia.
Las diferentes aplicaciones afectan bastante a las personas de la diversidad sexual, sobre todo a hombres gays. Hay dos aplicaciones que son muy frecuentemente de uso. Una de ellas es Grindr y la otra es también Twitter. Hemos recibido 2 denuncias donde en Grindr hay personas que, además de poner algunos datos personales, pueden poner la posibilidad de estado serológico, vale decir, si vive o no vive con el VIH. Y alguien se dio la tarea de poder conversar y lograr capturar las pantallas en las conversaciones donde la persona indica que es VIH positiva. Eso lo ha llevado a otra red que es la de Facebook y ha puesto estas personas tienen VIH, mostrándoles sus fotos y además mostrando una captura de pantalla de la conversación que han tenido. Eso, por supuesto, viola completamente en términos legales la confidencialidad sostenida por la Ley 3729.
Exposure of sensitive personal information like this that are caused by a lack of proper platform governance can have devastating effects.
En una sociedad como la boliviana, donde hay tanto prejuicio aún sobre y tanta culpa y vergüenza impulsada por una serie de segmentos de la población, es muy complicado que una persona diga abiertamente, si es que no tiene las herramientas, su orientación sexual. Entonces, eso por supuesto afecta en términos de su vida personal, de su vida cotidiana y también a la seguridad, porque de las personas se les está reflejando su imagen personal y también los datos íntimos de la persona. Entonces, es algo que no se está regulando.
This is just one of the many cases that we're seeing in the Digital SOS Center, which really makes us concerned and stresses the need for us to have a data protection law here in Bolivia.
These cases of online gender and sexuality-based discrimination and violence show that data injustice is suffered by some more than others. Deficits in the governance of online platforms do not impact all communities equally, and disproportionate harm can be done to individuals and groups on the basis of identity, as these cases from Bolivia and Uganda demonstrate. These examples of data injustice demonstrate just how much work is needed to advance just data futures. Yet, despite the scale of the challenge, each of our partners have been making strides towards fair and equitable uses of data. Join us for our final episode as we turn to this hopeful story of research, activism, and future change.
At Engage Media, we do a lot of work around data justice.
Right now, we've been trying to look for solutions here in Bolivia as to what data justice means from our perspective.
It's very important to include marginalized communities in and at the grassroots level, and the communities, people working within those communities and the work that you do around data justice.